Good morning. I thought I was helpful. So I'm Stephanie Patton. I'm the adult education coordinator for the Chesapeake Board of Education. We have some members of our team, although Jeff looks like he stepped up for a second. Members of the team here that you probably know really well, but Alex Ellerman, a program specialist, Kimberly Grimes, who's our support staff at executive secretary. And then Jeff Ojeda, who just stepped out, who's our new educational specialist. So we're excited to be here and have you here. We're super excited that Steve Solon from North San Pete, adult ed or Pleasant Creek High School, both agreed to come present. He's an expert on Edgenuity. So just turning the time over to him.
Okay. So I had a lot of questions. Thanks for those who submitted questions to the Google feed. Unfortunately, some of those things I just have to say, damn. We'll go over those, but there's a lot of good information. The nice thing is that a lot of it is actually all involved in one. It's a lot of how do I personalize it? How do I change these options? How do I make my own course? How do I do this? Which I can actually show you in one big step. And we can go over that. And if you have your Edgenuity, you can actually follow along with me while we do it. Still loading. But I'll go through the things that where it's like just, hey, this is unfortunate. You can't do that. I apologize. I need quick teams to go through the link again. There we go. Okay. One person online. Do we have two people online now?
Yeah.
There. The microphone.
You can stay muted because we've got these microphones here.
Oh, is
Here,
that how it's working?
yeah.
Okay. Well, either way. Screen, all right. Okay. Perfect, now we can start. So let me go over some of the questions you guys had over on the Google Sheet. One is, can a lesson be printed or moved to another LMS such as Canvas? No. Sorry. Edgenuity is copyrighted and they take it very seriously. There's actually a lawsuit that has been pending for 3 years with Brainly and with Quizlet for copying and pasting all their assessment information and putting it on there.
Can you make that bigger?
I can, yes. I didn't write it very well. I just quickly did it. So if you can't read it, I apologize. Or if it doesn't make sense, I apologize. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Let's make this. There we go. Why are some courses longer than others? That is an estimated completion time. That's really all it is. It's basically if the student does everything 100%, lessons, assignments, and everything that you have on there, that is approximately how long it should take them to finish. That's all it is. Anytime you take anything out, which I'll show you, then it'll actually decrease the amount. If you add your own assignments, it'll increase the amount of time that it takes. That's all it really means. So it's just an estimated time. So some classes ELA classes or U classes. And Mike's off.
This is the room.
Is it the room?
Is it?
No one
Okay.
else. We'll take.
What is the difference between pre-testing and prescriptive testing? I will show you how to set that up. Okay, pre-testing is this. Pre-testing takes the student to a unit quiz, a lesson quiz right away. It does not have them do the lesson at all. And then they take that quiz based on what your LEA says. So if you say, hey, we want competency to be at 80% or 70% or 75 or 60, if they pass that quiz based on your minimum standards, they skip that lesson and go to the next one because they've already demonstrated competency on it. And then they go through each one. If they do not pass it, they are required to go through all of the lesson assignments and anything else you assign to them before they can take the quiz again. So that quiz is locked until they finish everything. So pre-testing is unit by unit. Prescriptive testing actually gives them one big test covering every single amount of information in the entire course, but it only takes one question from each lesson. If they pass or get that question right, then after they take the test, anything they get wrong, they will have to go through and complete the normal amount. Anything they get right, they will skip that. Does that make sense? So if there's 10 lessons and they get 6 of the lesson questions right, they only have to do 4 of the lessons for that entire course. The problem with that is if you're a good guesser, you can skip a whole lesson. I put in a suggestion, they haven't done it yet, to have Edgenuity allow LEAs to say, I want 5 questions per lesson, and they have to pass 2 or 3 or 4, and you can actually make that. Hasn't been done. I made a lot of suggestions while I was working for them. I think like half of them were implemented. They're actually pretty good at implementing suggestions. So that's the difference between pre-testing and prescriptive. Prescriptive is the whole thing, and then it will actually take out what they get right, and then they just finish the rest. Pre-testing is lesson by lesson, and they take the 10 question quiz, and then if they pass it based on your recommendations, they get to skip that entire lesson. If they do not, then they go through the entire lesson, but one at a time. Do you guys have any other questions on that? Go ahead.
So can you do both of these things with original credit or only credit recovery?
You can do it with all of it. Yeah, you can do it with both. Credit recovery, so a lot of the credit recovery, they have some that are pre-done credit recovery, but in all honesty, you can make your own classes, which is what we did. We personalized everything to what we want the students to do. And we broke them all down into quarter classes because we noticed when students see less quizzes, tests, and exams, they are like, oh, I can finish that really quick compared to something that has the whole thing.
Wait, so are they just, the way that they're in the system, are they half credit or full?
They're both for those, but we made our own.
Okay.
And I'm gonna show you guys how to do that and how to actually modify courses and move things around. You were scratching your head, were you gonna raise your hand? Okay, I always see people. All right, yeah, go ahead.
A pre-test is for every lesson or for a unit?
So what it does, I can go in here real quick and show you. So a pre-test, so let's go to manage courses here. We'll go to any course and I can show you what a pre-test is. So prescriptive takes one question from every lesson in the whole class. Pre-testing, so let's go into, oh, I don't want to do managed courses, I want to do course structures. Sorry. If you do courses and course structures, it actually lets you look at everything. So let's go into psychology. We'll go to PCS quarter 3. That's one of the ones that we made. So here's the entire class, right? And it shows you there's a lecture, there's a quiz, there's a lecture, there's a quiz. What it will do, pre-testing will say, all right, under this unit, motivation, we're gonna have you take the quiz first, just for this information here. That's it.
You're calling that a unit, but motivation is a lesson.
It's, for me, we call it a unit. We don't do the whole thing as a unit for us. We just call it. So that's my lingo. So sorry, that's confusing.
I just need to be clear on it.
Yeah, so it's every lesson. I'll say it that way so it's more clear. Every lesson. So they'll say motivation, quiz. They'll take this quiz. If they pass it, then they'll move on to theories of motivation. If they pass that, they move on to theories of emotion. If they don't pass that, they have to go through the lecture and any other assignments that you assign to them. Does that make more sense? Sorry about that.
No, and then the structure, like becoming human, is that a,
This whole thing would be what you call the unit right here. Because it was, we call them topic tests because they call it topic test in there. And so that, the topic test covers the whole thing. So it won't go to the topic test for you. It does every lesson that there is. Everywhere there's a quiz, it will do it. Pre-test.
So you took out like the warm up, the instruction,
Not the instruction.
okay,
That's lecture right here.
summary, like, I'm just looking at.
We take out quite a bit of the stuff that we say. We think it's just a waste of time. Warm up is a waste of time, especially because if you have the wrong computer and not something updated, it won't let you go through. And then there's technical issues with that. The summary we don't do because a lot of people say, why am I watching 3 minutes of what I just watched? Why am I wasting my time with that? And so we've taken a lot of stuff out based on what the community has actually said, why are we doing this stuff? And so in psychology, well, we don't even give this class anymore because I don't have a psychology endorsed teacher anymore. We took out the online content also because we're having issues with the whole whitelisting thing. And it requires you to go to another website. We kept the journal activities for a while, and then those were having issues too, because our apples were not updating to what Edgenuity needed, and so students weren't able to move on, so we just took them out. Because they were still demonstrating their competency, which is the test for us. Any other questions on the pre-testing and prescriptive testing? We personally don't use prescriptive testing right now, just because we're waiting for them to change that if they do. We do allow people to pre-test, but we also allow our students to move through freely. And so pre-testing really doesn't do anything when you allow someone to go through freely anyway, because they can take the quiz without the pre-testing option. All right. If you have questions on that after again, or something comes up later, go ahead and raise your hand. Another one was, is Imagine Learning going to test on anything other than multiple choice and true and false? They do have matching, but that's about it. No. Some do have essays that the teachers have to grade. And there is a plagiarism tool on there that you can use, and I'll show you how to use that. Someone was asking about that before. There is also a way, so I tested this last night. I went through and copied all the transcripts of a lesson, put it into AI and said, make me a 10-question quiz. And it made a quiz for me like that. And then you could actually copy that, put it in Canvas and put a link to your Canvas saying, take this in Canvas instead. So if you would rather do that, you can do that. You are able to use your own LMS and put in grades manually into Edgenuity if you desire. That's something that's an option, and we'll go over that later. I'll show you how I did that. And then where is the whitelist? I will share that with Kim so she can get that to you so you can get it to your IT people. All right. Okay. Customizing course. Do you have any other questions? Here's what we're going to go through. We're going to go through customizing courses and course options. Bulk edit courses, exam only courses for testing out, AI mirror detection. I had a couple people ask about that. How does the non-English languages work? It is a mess. I will tell you that right now. How it works, they're trying to fix it. And then reports and hours, and they came out with a new report that was released yesterday. But I don't know a ton about it, but it's called Weekly Activity. It actually covers a lot more information than Edgenuity used to provide you in one report that you had to go through separately. And then some of their reports are just messy, and some reports that you might want just are not available for that. So those are what we're gonna go over. Feel free to raise your hand, interrupt me. If I'm not looking at you, just say, hey, Steve, I have a question, and I'm happy to stop and answer it. If I go too fast, if you need me to go back, I will go back. If I explain something in a way that does not make sense, just like I said with units, then say, hey, Steve, you're an idiot. Say it a different way, please. That's what my students say. All right, so we'll go into Edgenuity. Here's what we did. This is what works for us. Of course, everything might not work for you this way, but this is how we did it. Like I said, the students were getting very frustrated when we gave them a semester or year class because they look at their numbers, quizzes, tests, and exams, and assignments and say, this is so much, I'm just getting overwhelmed. And they were just working slowly. So when we broke it up to quarters, they said, oh, 15 quizzes, 3 tests, and an exam, I can get this up to like 3 or 4 days probably. And there's more motivation for them to actually get more done. It worked with all of our local kids, our YIC students, and the adult ed students. We've been seeing a lot more success by breaking it down. So when you go to courses, you click on Manage Courses, and you find the course you want to break down. As you can see, we have a lot of courses here that say PCS, quarter 1, exam only. We do let everyone test out in either quarter, semester, or 4-year credit. So there is one class I think we needed to break up. I don't think we ever did world geography.
What is PCS?
Pleasant Creek School.
Oh, gotcha.
That's the starting. So that just differentiates it. Oh, we did do world geography. I'm gonna find a class that we don't use.
So I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So when you say exam only on some of the courses that you have, so is that where you've created an exam?
No, so it actually creates an exam. It gives you what's called an exam only course where if they say, hey, I want to test it out, we don't give them the actual class, we give them the exam only course, because all they take is the final in that whole thing. And if they pass it, they get the credit. If they don't pass it, then we just kind of say, okay, you have to take the class.
But did you, I mean, was that part of a big thing and you just took the exam out?
No, I'll show you guys how to
Okay.
do that, actually,
Okay.
yeah. It's actually, you just hit a button and say, make an exam only course, and it creates it for you. It's
Okay.
really cool.
While we're on that exam only, you said you let your students test out exam only quarter, semester, or full year. Do you make them do quarter by quarter? Because exam only, like my experience is like a 50 question.
Yeah, we don't recommend to them to do quarters because it's still a 50-question test.
Uh-huh,
And then
okay.
a semester is still a 50-question
Okay.
test, but it covers more of the content, right?
That's what I-
Yeah, we recommend they do a semester to the full year,
And a full year is still 50.
50 questions, yeah.
Yeah,
We, again, another suggestion we said is, can you make an exam only course 100 questions so that students have, more and yeah, we'll think about that. That's all.
you should go through.
Yeah, AP, we don't have AP classes at my alternative school, so we'll do AP US History. So to create your own course, make a copy or modify a course. This is pretty small again, isn't it? Let's see if I can zoom in. There we go. So I'm gonna take AP, I'll do AP US Government and Politics. So you just click the check mark of anything you want to make a copy of, and you cannot bulk edit. So you can't like hit this, select all and say, okay, let's make a copy, because you have to modify each course one by one. All right. So we'll do AP US Government and Politics. And this actually doesn't take as much time as you think it will. You want to click customize right here. Okay. You'll get two options. One is create a new course or modify this course. We always create a new course because what it does is it keeps the original as it is, because Edgenuity gives you the entire shebang, right? And then you can say, I want to take this, or I want to add this, or I want to take this away. So you want to create a new course based on this course. And we'll open it up. First thing you have to do is rename it, because if you don't, it'll be the same as the other one. So we always take away the numbers and then we do the /PCS quarter one. Okay, you don't have to break it into quarters. You can do however you want. This is how you can customize whatever you want. Okay, click on save. Now it's not in red where the name is. And you'll see here it has all of the lessons in there. Click here on filter activity types. I always say move left to right. We always take away the warm up. We take away the assignments, and a lot of them we will keep the short writing. The assignments do require external links. Again, whitelist, it can cause some problems. We take away the projects also. We'll leave a lot of the essays, but we take away the summary. Now, right here is where the time of completion is. It looks about 32 hours, 43 minutes. As you notice, I take things away, the time changes. So assignment, 35 hours, 32 hours, projects, 80 hours, 32 hours. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, now this is a semester class of government and citizenship. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. What we do at Pleasant Creek is we always make the first quarter, if there's an odd number of units, first quarter will be 3 units, and the second quarter will just be 2 units. So this is only quarter one, so we're going to leave these 3 units. By taking away these 2 units here, the final exam will automatically take this information out of the final exam. You do not have to edit anything else. That automatically does it for you. Okay. Anything you take out here will automatically be taken out of the grade. You do not have to worry about editing anything off of that. It does it all for you. That's one of the nice convenient things about this program. We used another one through K-12 schools or another one, and you had to modify everything. It took me 3 hours to modify one class for elementary students that we were doing. And I just said no more of this. Okay. If you click these expanding arrows here, it gives you every single thing that they're going to talk about. As a teacher, so this is what the high school did. Now, our school, we just say, okay, you have to do the whole thing. Okay, you're here, let's get this done. And again, 90% of the kids I deal with are the local students for the alternative school and the YIC students. So we cater a lot more to them than adult ed. But they, the high school said, hey, you know what? I teach this lesson after this one, so you can move this one down here. And it'll change the order. You can even say, oh, you know what? We teach this one with this down here. Now, changing the lesson from this unit to this unit, the unit test automatically takes away the questions from this one, from this lesson that I moved down, and it will move it down to this unit. So assessments are automatically changed however you organize it. So you can organize anything however you want. Yeah.
Are we logging into our school Edgenuity or doing something?
You can do that and follow along. You don't have to. This is gonna be recorded, right, and then sent out anyway, so you'll have it. And then after I made instructional videos for our district, but then Edgenuity changed the whole construct of where things are. So I'm gonna actually make new ones and then I can share those with Kim. We can have her send those off to you guys. So you can modify it however you want. You can say, hey, you know what? My school doesn't teach this, so I'm just gonna take that one out. I'm gonna take this one out just because nobody cares about the Bill of Rights. And you can edit it however you want. So the student has demonstrated competency somehow in those ways, which is really hard to do in adult ed when someone comes to you and says, here's my transcript. You really don't know what they learned in those, right? You don't know what to take out, but we have a lot of kids who come in and they're like, hey, I just came from this school and, you know, this is the file from that school and this is what we learned, and we get their test score. This is for our YIC kids. We get their test scores, we get their quizzes, we get their stuff, and we can modify this and say, okay, you already demonstrated, and we can check mark it, and it makes the class shorter so that they can get through it faster. So once you're done and say, hey, this sounds good, I think this is great. Oh, let me show you one more thing.
Wait, before you get too far on, when you modify per student, you have to make a class specifically for that kid, right?
No, so what we do, we don't do one per kid. We make our class, and then after we assign it to them, we can modify it in their account only.
Oh,
Does that make sense? And I can show you how to do that too. So this is our class. This will be the minimum everyone has to do.
oh,
And then we can modify it again per student after that. So you can modify it a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
This is the minimum or this is the maximum?
This will be the, it's not confusing me.
So when you go and customize it on a per student level, you can start adding assignments? Or you're only,
You could if you wanted to, yeah.
okay, so,
Well, we don't. So, right here, so here's a button. You can do add unit right there. So if you say, hey, there's stuff not on here that we want to cover, you can actually add stuff right here by saying add unit, and then it will say what's the unit name.
this is still the course level, I'm talking about on the student level customization.
Oh, student level, let's go over that later. Does that make sense? Because then we'll start doing two things at once.
I have another question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
For initial credit, are we, how do I say this? You said that your LEA makes certain decisions, you know, cut the summary, cut the intro.
Mhm.
Are you thinking about the speed time, the hours at all? Because like, you know, I just looked up BYU independent study, you know, the old Carnegie units, early 2000s,
Yeah.
about maybe a quarter credit, you've got to be engaged for 30 hours. That's tradition.
Yeah.
Is this who
No.
you want?
We,
Competency, I understand. If
Yeah.
it's competency based through the time, but original credit, you worry about the time.
so our district has actually moved to competency-based PCBO for initial credit even.
Yeah.
And so, no, we don't focus on seat time at all. Us, you can, of course, and say, hey, you have to get everything done. You cannot move from one unit to another until you get done with this unit. But our district, no. Because they have started doing, we've been working with Marzano for 3 years now, and they've been doing, let's just do competency based, let's figure this out. And we're still in like stage, I think we're moving on to stage 3 or stage 5 this year. So no, we don't worry about seat time.
I guess what I wrestle with is content is
Yeah.
worth some measure of 0.25. How much content? 30 hours of content, 10 hours of content, you know, it's content is related to the quarter, the awarding of credit. How much content? That's what I don't know. Because whether it's based on competency or exposure, it's still content, and content still takes some amount of time.
It does, but again, if someone already knows that, why make them go through it? right? So it depends on what you want.
Well, like I'm saying, I'm talking about original credit.
Yeah,
But-
again, our original credit is now PCBL, it's now competency based, and they're letting kids go faster through original credit if they already know the information, or they can demonstrate that they know it. And so if the district is still saying, hey, we still want seat time, then, and when I show you edit options, it'll kind of answer your question better. But after we do this, that'll make them go through and actually do all of the hours, and you can record those hours.
And Shane, I mean, I would think of it more as which standards need to be addressed, right?
Fair enough, yeah, that's.
So
the way to
instead of-
organize the content.
Instead of time being the check, right? Standards are the check. Have they shown competency on a quarter of the essential standards for that course? And just tie that back. If you're not addressing the standards in that, then probably it's not really competency.
Okay, well, then,
And adult education has had that clause, like it's about mastery, not time.
yeah.
In our policy for 10 years, 11, 12 years. I don't even know how long, more than 9. I can guarantee that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's sticky. Because everyone is starting to shift differently. And it's all really what you want and what you want them to receive. All right, going back on it, if you want to do add an activity, so like I said before, one concern was, hey, answers are on different websites. How do you keep them from cheating? How do you keep them from cheating on anything? Really, it's really hard. Well, our district has an issue now with Canvas because there are little add-ons on Canvas that are advertised on educational websites. So you can't block it because it's an educational website. They can put a plugin that actually goes through. It's AI. It answers all the questions and writes essays for them without them doing anything in Canvas. And so now our district is like, well, do we want to keep Canvas now or not? Or do we want to only let them do it at school? But now there's a timer on that plugin so that it can actually go slow, so it doesn't look like it's just going through really quick. I don't know, kids, if they put as much time into working as they do figuring out how to cheat, it would just be so much better. So that's one of the issues. So what we do is we actually proctor our final exams, and they're required to pass the final exam. If they cannot come in, we have an app called Class that is paid for by a couple other grants that we use for our YSC and our online program that we run. So they have to actually log in with a teacher during our adult ed hours. Our online proctor actually does do it for adult ed when during the day outside of our hours if they're working. So they actually log in, they share their screen. It actually notifies you if they open up any other application, any other window, any other tab. And we have to tell them, hey, you got to close this. If they do, then they're good. If they don't, we want them again. If they don't, close it, which we've never had a problem. You can actually lock the exam and say, okay, you can't take it again until you follow the rules. Or if it happens more than once, we say you have to come in from now on. We can't allow you to do this. So we proctor the final exams, but we allow them to take their tests and their quizzes. We do have them sign something saying I will be academically honorable. I will not cheat. Can you really focus on that? I don't know. However, most kids don't. Most of our students don't get A's, so hopefully they're not cheating. Okay, but they're all passing the final exams too, being proctored. So obviously they're learning some of the information in some way or another. But if you don't want to use the Edgenuity unit tests, quizzes, exams, you can say, I'm going to take out the unit test, add activity right here. You can say writing prompt or project. I choose project because there's less to fill out. If it will let me choose project, there we go. You just click on create new activity, enter the name, take final in Canvas. My goodness, if I could type. And then take final in Canvas, and then you just say, that's all it is, save. And then what it says to them when they get to this point of the unit test is take the final in Canvas. So then they know, oh, I'm gonna go to Canvas, and then you can monitor it better if you want to create your own test quizzes and exams for these units. Okay, so you don't have to use Edgenuity. I know that is a big, cheating is just a huge concern overall, period, especially with technology nowadays, AI. I mean, I'll show you how I use AI to answer one of your journal questions, but you can detect AI with Edgenuity right now. Yeah.
So like if you were gonna do this take final in Canvas, does that mean that you would have created your own final?
Create your own.
Okay.
Yeah. You can create your own, but you can use AI to create it, and it's really cool. So then you don't have to go through all the content yourself, because that would take just forever to do for every class.
With the key echo.
It does, yes, it gives you the answers. It's great.
But
Um,
we can't upload that activity into Edgenuity.
No, unfortunately not. But that was one thing I asked them to do, again. Thanks for the suggestion, we'll consider it.
Steve, do they get upset? Does Edgenuity get upset? Like, I was just at the GD conference and, people were talking about AI and stuff, and they were like, don't ever put any of our stuff, period, in AI, because that makes it public content, right? So I'm just curious if Edgenuity, like, if you're copying, pasting transcripts in there, right, you're putting all of your content now.
I haven't told them, so.
I was just curious if they say anything ever, like,
No,
don't do that, that's copyrighted material.
I've never asked them, so, no.
Just curious.
That's good. I'm gonna keep it on the down low. Okay, so, you can ask them, like, right here's the little ask a question button. And then you can just say live agent, and then it'll get you to a live agent after you type it a few times. Again, I've asked, hey, can we upload our own in there? But they said that would just take too long for us to be able to upload it as a quiz, because they write it in a specific format and then upload it in here. But the guy who actually does it lives in Hurricane. I went to junior high with him. That's how I actually got the job. And he advertised it on Facebook, and I was like, hey, I can do that. So, I worked for them from 2015 until last October. But usually I would email him directly and say, hey, Lance, can we do this? And he'd be like, I think I can. And he would take care of it. I can't anymore. So, unfortunately. But you can add your own. Now I'm going to take this out with the unit test. Once you're done editing, once you're done adding or taking away, and you say, okay, this is good, you click on publish course, publish, and then check course options. This is where you can make a lot of other decisions. What's your weight going to be? Okay, it's only 90 because I took out a few things. I took out the assignments, right? Oh no, I took out the short writing, but I kept the essay. So we can say, well, this doesn't add up to 100. So let's say the final exam is going to be 30, however you want to do it. Just make sure. Cancel that. Okay. Go hit enter and we'll save it for you. Okay. Now it's 100. It won't let you save anything until this total is 100 anyway, because it does traditional grading. I wish it would do standard-based grading, but the way they mark their standards on Edgenuity is really confusing. They don't just have Utah State standards on there. They have all of them on there, but they don't mark them how it's worded on the USDD website. So if they say, yeah, we follow it by 10.2.5.6, and it's like, that looks like an IP address, not what it is. You can put your passing thresholds too. We keep it at 60. 60 is a D minus in North San Pedro School District. So we keep it at 60 for all of our students. If they do not get a 60, they have to take it again. It does not count towards their completed amount of test quizzes and exams for the day. It does not count. It does count towards hours because they're on there, but it doesn't count towards their full completion. They do have to pass everything. So they have to demonstrate that competency. We give them 3 attempts. If they do not pass after 2, then we won't unlock the 3rd attempt. We make them go through all of the content again before we'll unlock it again. Because Edgenuity changed it. It used to be, they had a bank for quizzes of 25 questions. If you had to retake it, it would just give you a random set of questions out of those 25. And now they give it the same 10 every single time, and I don't know why they do that. Again, another suggestion, hey, can you guys not do that? Think about it. Right here on the assessment options, you can allow them to save or exit on any of these. So if they say, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom, can I save it? You can allow them. We do not allow save and exit on quizzes or tests because we do not proctor them. So we don't know if they're going out and trying to find them, if they're like reading the questions and then finding it.
Mhm.
So what this will do is it'll actually submit the test for them. The other thing you can do if you want to, is you can say, hey, hide the viewed questions. So if they view a question, go to the next one, try to exit and save it, and then come back after finding the answer, it won't let them answer. It marks it automatically gone if they leave it blank. So that way they cannot go back to it. So on the Quizzes and tests, we don't allow them to save an exit on it just because we're not proctoring those, but on the exams, we do because we're watching it. But we do hide the viewed questions so that they can't say, go onto their phone or anything to look for the questions. We do allow students to use notes on test quizzes and exams. If they're gonna take notes, that's a great thing to reward them with is, hey, you can use notes if you can take notes properly. E-notes is something internal, and I can show you what that is. This is something that can take in Edgenuity. So they actually type it and then they can access it in the Edgenuity system. And so you can say, hey, no notes on exams, but you can use them on quizzes, no notes on tests, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. Okay, and then automatic progression, what this option is if they fail it 3 times, but they can't get anyone, or they can't move on, because nobody's in the adult ed office and they need help and, you know, they're just stuck. This still allows them to move on, but they still have to go back and pass those quizzes later on. So like automatic progression lets them move on, even if they're not passing. The only one that's really hurts them in is math. If they're trying to go through all the math really fast, because it progresses on itself. And then failed attempts allowed, we do 3. The most common that I saw around the country, so I taught kids in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Washington, and Utah. 2 is the most common. That's just common. We do 3. I don't know why. We just made that decision. To be honest, I can't give you a full answer on that. There is a way to hide the timer. I don't know if people ever told you they feel anxiety when they see the timer. Yeah, so you can hide the timer. We give them an hour for everything anyway. I think we give them an hour for quizzes, 90 minutes for tests, and like 2 hours for exams, just because we don't want them to feel rushed. So you can hide the assessment timer. This is not available on every class, some classes. So reduce answer options by. So for multiple choice, if someone has an IEP, this doesn't really result in adult ed a lot, but if you ever go into high school or middle school with this, you can say, oh, the student has an IEP. Part of the IEP is reduce questions. So we can reduce multiple choice questions by 1. So it'll only give them 3 instead of 4. Or you can do it by 2 and only give them 2 questions instead of 4. And then reduce number of assessment questions by however much percent. So if someone has an IEP and you say 50 questions is too hard on the final exam, let's reduce it by like 20%. Then there's only 40 questions on there instead.
So you're building a whole course, or like if you're doing something like that, that's for the whole course.
Whole course.
That would be like anybody with an IEP that has that accommodation.
Yeah, so you can even, so what we could do for the IEP, you could, instead of saying PCS quarter 1, where's the name? Oh, there it is. You could now even change this and say SPED. And that would mean, hey, SPED has the accommodation, but the other ones do not. So. Yep, he's calling me. Okay, let's see, auto grading. Auto grading is usually, basically, you can use auto grading even on the journal activities. It will just try to take keywords and then auto grade it for you, but you can have a teacher double check it, or you can have teacher graded. We do not do teacher supported on the multiple choice because my teachers don't have time to go through every single quiz, test, and exam. That's the nice thing about the auto grade. Some of them you can't change that anyway. That's why it's grayed out. Some you can. Teacher review means it will lock anything you want. They have to get to it and then say, hey, I'm ready to take this, and someone has to manually go in and unlock it. This is what we do for our local students, our online students, and our YSC students. Every quiz, test, and exam has to be unlocked, and they have to proctor all of it. So we've trained our YSC staff to actually, we've given them an account and they unlock it for the students and they'll proctor it since they're in the classroom. Our local students, we have a TA who does that. Our online program has a TA who does that, and she proctors them using that class program where they share their screen and their camera. Adult ed, we do it for the exams, and they have to use class to come in and take those. So every time they fail, it has to be unlocked. If they pass it, they can just move on, but if they do not pass, then it has to be unlocked. So that way you can control it. A lot of people say, how do you help students? This is where it shows you if they're struggling or not. You can say, hey, you know what? I've seen you failed this 3 times. Let's go over the concept really quick. I mean, online, okay, I'm gonna break off a little bit. Online school is not perfect, and it will never replace quality in-person education, ever. And the problem with online school is it's one format that they say, hey, one size fits all. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't, because if someone doesn't learn the way that this information is presented, they're not gonna learn it, and they have to go find it, the information somewhere else. So that's one of those things where this kind of helps you say, okay, you're not learning it this way, let's take it another way, and we can help you do it somehow else. Okay, so that's locking exams.
And that's where we would choose prescriptive testing, right? If
Prescriptive testing is down a little bit more. I'll show you that real quick. Guided notes, I always do guided notes, and what this is, if it's available for a class, it's actually like just a Word document or a PDF that they can download, and they can fill out notes as they go through the lessons, as they go through the videos. So it's already structured notes for them. Some do not have the guided notes, some do. They just released an update that they are providing fillable PDFs now. I don't know when that'll happen. They said sometime in August, but students can actually download it and fill it out on the computer instead of by hand. Before they had to download it, print it, and then fill it out. Now they can actually fill it out online through a PDF document, which is kind of nice. Our local students love the guided notes because it tells them exactly what they're supposed to be learning. This was a question, how do I let students go through freely? Allow free movement, let students go through anything. Anything they want, so it doesn't block it. Okay, and I'll show you what that looks like when I log in as a student and show you what they see. But if you want students, like you were saying, seat time, if you want students to have seat time, you can turn this off, and then they have to go through each lesson in order, pass the assignments, pass the quizzes before they can move on. And that'll give them that seat time. Go ahead. No, you're fine.
Even if you have it, set, so like up in the testing and stuff where you have it locked for quizzes and stuff,
So it has to be
it
open.
still has to be unlocked, but they can go from unit to unit or quiz or lesson to lesson without taking the quiz.
Yeah. So the reason why we really like this is because we do allow our local students to do minimal work at home. We will, if they request it, we will let them take quizzes at home and we'll unlock their quizzes. Passing exams, no, they have to take those in person. Those have to be proctored. So, if a student, for adult ed, that let's say they want to get through everything, but the final exam is locked. Well, that doesn't actually make a good example. So if I have a student who we won't allow to take quizzes because we found cheating and it's all proctored, we will allow them to move through freely, because then even though the quizzes, tests, and exams are locked, they can go through and finish any of the assignments or journals that we require them to do. And then when they get to school, they can do their quizzes and tests and exams in school. If they need that extra help, our teachers do go into the room for a little bit and give them that extra support, and so they can get the help they need. But allowing freely lets them move through parts of the courses without having to have someone there. So we have had students who come to our school. Again, this is the local students. They come to the school, they do all of their assessments, and then they go home and do more work, which is insane for someone who hates school, right? But they want to get done, and they see that they can go faster by doing more work. So this is a great thing if you want people to be able to go through a little faster. Does that see a hand over here? Okay. So we always leave it. You don't have to. Majority of school districts do not allow movement freely for high school kids for the initial credit, but for credit recovery, they actually let them move through freely allowed. So here's your pre-testing. So this AP class does not allow pre-testing. So that's one of those things that's grayed out, so you can't do that, but you would just click here. You'd say, what's the time limit? And you could say, hey, they have 60 minutes to do pre-testing. What's their minimum score? 80. Okay. You can change this also. So you can say 70, 60, whatever you want. For pre-testing, if someone asks for it, even though 60 is our minimum threshold, we actually do pre-testing at 70 because we want them to have a higher understanding before going through content. Because really, if someone's going to test out or do something that high, we want them to be able to demonstrate it at a higher level than just the minimum. So we do 70 for our pre-testing. Quiz review method, we choose questions and student answers. We allow students to see which ones they missed. Some people do correct answers. I don't know why, because then they could just get them all wrong, write down the answers for the quizzes, and then they could go through and take the quiz and get them all right, so they don't mix them up anymore. You can also choose no review. So if a student takes a quiz, this won't show them any of the questions. They don't know what they missed. They don't know what they answered wrong. And they have to take it again, trying to guess or see if they know the information. We do student answers. We show them the ones that they missed because it doesn't tell them the right answer. We also tell students like, hey, if you get a 5 out of 10 and you just barely didn't pass, seriously go Google all 5 answers and figure it out, because it doesn't matter where you learn. I don't want you to watch a whole video again just for a few bits of content, because you can't fast forward and you can't skip through the Edgenuity videos, which drives me crazy. For 8 years, I've been asking them to change that. I was told that they are changing that soon, so they can speed up the videos and skip through if they need to. So we tell them, hey, you barely didn't pass, just go find the information online somewhere, because however you learn is good. Okay, time limits is right here, 60, 120, 180. We're not too worried about the time. There used to be an option to take away time limits, but they took that away, and I don't know why. Right here, this is the target dates. So what we do is we leave it blank. If it requires the date, we put the same date as the start and the end date. That doesn't make them follow a certain pattern. So with PCBL, once they demonstrate competency, they demonstrated competency. So we don't have that, oh, you didn't finish by this date, now you have to start the class all over. That's what the high school credit recovery does, which drives me nuts. So if you leave this here, it doesn't tell them you have to be done by a certain time. Another thing that we do for our adult ed is we have the students make the goals. Do you want to graduate, or do you want to just have a certain amount of classes done by a certain date? And they get to choose. A lot of them say, I just want to graduate, give me everything I need to graduate. Well, if I put a start and an end date on there, it really drives me nuts, because then it says you're behind in this class, this class, this class, this class, this class. So what we do is we make our own Google sheet that actually tells them, okay, here's the date you want to graduate by, here's how many test quizzes and exams total, out of everything you have you need to do, and it updates on a daily basis based on how much they do. So that's how we personally do it. Now, if you do semester-based classes, we don't, I only have, Stephanie, how many kids that I have active total? 24, maybe at the most this year? I think 24. I think that's high for us too. I think we had 31 total enrollments, which is really high for us. So it's really a small program. For you who have thousands or hundreds of students, it's totally right? And so having, what's up?
29.
29, I have 29, nice.
Can you share a copy of that Google, the sheets that you've got, or not sheets?
Yeah, I can send you the blank copy. So here's what I did. I'll show you that right after, how we do it.
Because you export, because that would take a long time to sit and type all the quizzes.
Oh, no, we have a whole master sheet that shows all of the quizzes, tests, and exams, and then we just copy and paste everything you go. Takes maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes, if that. Yeah, I'll share that with you. Okay, prescriptive testing is right here. So this is the one that gives them the whole shebang. Again, AP class, it won't let you do it. So, but you can give them a time limit. So it gives them the final exam, basically. And then it modifies the course based on what they miss. So automatically modifies it for that student. Chat support is something that you have to pay extra for. So if you don't pay extra for that, it shouldn't be. We have this enabled until the end of this month. We got rid of it because it quadrupled the price of it. It used to be $1,000 a year, and they get live support, which is awesome. Now it's $4,000. I think they upped it to $5,000 this year. So we just got rid of that. So if your school district pays for this, this allows them to click on a button and they get live help right there. I think it's 24/7, but not all classes are available 24/7, just certain topics. Okay, so that's the edit options. Do you have any questions on the options? Is there anything unclear that I talked about?
So
Go
I
ahead.
think
Yeah.
I've already said this, but I'm just curious. So do you guys use you guys do use the big test?
Which big test? The final exam?
Like, I mean, so for testing out, you do
Oh,
use it for.
Yeah, that'll be another, yeah.
Okay.
I can show you how to do that too. That's created in a new course. I'll show
But
you.
I'm just saying, in your school district, you do it.
Only by request. We don't offer it. It's only if someone, because USBE law is if someone says, I want to test out, you can't stop them from testing out. Or for fine, but you can't limit it. So our district policy is they have to sign a sheet that says, I understand I'm testing out. They have to get a minimum score of 70. They have to agree that they have to do it in person. We won't let them do it online, of course. In person, they have to give up their cell phone. They have to do it on a school computer that has all the restrictions, so they can't go to any other websites. And they have to finish the test in one sitting. We don't even let them go to the bathroom. And so they have to sign that sheet. They only get one try. If they do not pass it, then they have to do the class as normal. And then if they do pass it, they get credit. So that's how we do it. That's for all students. That's local students, YC students.
But you don't say it's like, shouldn't people just have to?
We don't advertise it.
Okay.
Yeah. We advertise pre-testing. Because that's not necessarily testing out in one thing, but we wait until someone says, hey, can I test out? Oh yeah, that is an option. So
is there a way when they do the exam only to take what they got correct and then take it out of the course? It doesn't talk to each other.
that's where the prescriptive testing is important. Okay. So if you want, if they said, I want to test it out, and you say, hey, let's have you take this test, then it would that's actually better. It's actually a good option.
Wait, so if they take the prescriptive and they don't pass it, it would just build the class with just the things that they didn't?
Yeah, just with the things they didn't get, it automatically just builds the class for them. For what they did not get right.
And prescriptive, that was only one question from each.
Yeah, that's why I don't like it. It's only one question for me. Lesson.
It just depends on the course.
Depends on the course, and it depends on how much you edit the course, because you could do prescriptive testing based off what you made or from the original content. And so, never thought about it that way. That's a good, good idea. Yeah, you want to test out? Sure. Oh, you didn't pass, but here's what you need to pass.
You could do prescriptive testing and then close the units that they don't need. And then let them just have free reign. They could go through the content, and then could you create an exam only for those units that they needed? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you could create an exam only for the units that they needed.
After, and give them access that they could just go through and read the lessons and everything, and then just one big test at the end.
So what you could do, that would take a lot.
Would it take a lot?
But how many kids has to test out for you? It's not very many, right? So it wouldn't be too bad, because what you could do is it's just, you would have to create a class based off of that student's needs, right? You'd have to make another copy, take out the units that they needed, and then you would save that as a class, and then you would copy that as an example in class. And so it'd be for each student. So you could name it after each student, say this is the exam only for this person. It would be quite a bit. Then your list would actually be loaded with exam only courses for students. So
Okay,
but it's an option.
it's an option, but
It is
it's
an option.
still, is there a way to delete those exam onlys after they?
Yeah, you can delete certain courses. I've had issues with deleting some of the ones that I've created though, so we can go look at that real quick.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You can ask anything you guys want to as we go, because things will come up that weren't on that sheet, or things will come up as I present this. After you hit submit, after you're done with your options, you have three options. Do not change the students currently assigned to this course, which you shouldn't have any if it's a brand new course. Update this course and all students currently assigned to it. So if you go into a class that a lot of students are assigned to, and you're like, oh crap, I've got to change this option, you can change it for everyone that's assigned to it. Or you can just all students in a selected group, and then you have to choose that group. And we have adult ed online. SOARs are local students, and then our YSC students. When we find out that, oh, we made a mistake on these course options, which happens, then we just say update the students currently assigned to it. But right now, you do not have to change anyone because there's nobody assigned to this course. And then you hit submit. Now, you can go to manage courses. And your course of AP US Government and Politics PCS Q1 is ready, and students can start taking it. So that's how you create and customize the course. It could be for anyone. So now I can say, hey, I'm going to give this to, from here, you can actually say enroll. Enrollment. Oh, never mind. They stopped doing that. Oh, manage enrollments, there you go, they changed it. There's nobody enrolled in the class right now. Does everyone know how to add classes to student accounts? You haven't seen that? Okay, I can show you.
So I
It'd
typically
actually be easier this way.
go to the student and then find the classes I want and add.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to do it. You can bulk enroll. You can actually say, hey, I'm gonna enroll like these kids in this class. It's long, it's, you have to click here, click there, click here, click here, click here, and then you finally get to it.
Okay.
So this is the test account that we use just to kind of goof around. So when you find a student, you can click here and search any student by name. Once you find that student, it comes up to their classes that they currently have. And then you click add a course. And it comes up with every course that you have opted in. I always do it by name. I click on the name. And then it will alphabetically alphabetically organize it for you. You can choose on the subject. Categories, I don't. Right, all courses are rate. What's the difference between a regular? I don't know. So I always go to subject. You have electives, language arts, math, science, social studies. So electives cover CTE, health, PE, digital studies, art, all those things. And then language arts, math, science, and social studies. So if you say, hey, social studies, I don't know what grade AP is, because Edgenuity in Utah don't necessarily match what grade students will take things at. So you could say search, and it breaks down only the social studies classes. And then here's my AP Government and Citizenship PCS Q1 right here. Click it on the left side and add selected course. And then that student now has that course. Back to courses. AP US Government and Politics, PCS Q1. When you manage courses, does anybody have any questions on organizing or creating the courses or personalizing them? Is it pretty clear? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
It's on the course level. I'd like to see customization on a student level.
Okay, student level. So let's go into that. So if we say, so now you just go into the student like I'm in. So if we say to this student, hey, you know what, this student has an IEP. You just click on it, edit options. Well, actually, okay, like you were saying, let me go here first. Customize. So this will only change it for this student because I chose it in this student's account. This will change it for everyone. And then I can go through and do the same thing. I can say, hey, you know what? This kid needs projects. He just needs it. I need that 40 extra hours for that kid. Okay. And I can say publish course. Publish, so you can make all the same changes as you were for the other student or for just creating the course. And then I can change things for this student. I can say, oh, he has the project now. So I'm gonna go up the final. Well, I'm gonna keep the final exam at 30. And I'm gonna move test to 30. And then this student has an IEP, so he's going to need reduce the answers by just one. I don't know why I did it on the one. And we're gonna reduce the number of questions by 20%. And then this same process as creating a class. We'll just change it for that one student. So you just go into an individual student and change it for him. Or that day. Okay, so that's how you do it for an individual student. It's just going into their individual class right there. Same process, you can add it, modify it, however you need. So that's for the individual student, and then that won't change it. Did you notice when I said submit changes, it didn't say if you want to change all the enrollments, because it's just for this one person. Okay, so that's how you can change it for each individual student. Yeah, go ahead.
How do you check to see how long it took the student to complete the course?
Each course,
Yeah. Like if I wanna know, like, how long did it take the student to finish math?
that might be under this new one. Now, I don't know if there's an exact one for each course. So there might not be one for that, but under more administrative reports, there's this new one called weekly activity. There's another one called on track, off track. I don't know, let's try that one. I've never used these reports because I don't like how Edgenuity actually organizes them.
So I use the attendance log, but it gives you like
Yeah, the attendance log will tell you how many quizzes and tests and things they completed for the day. Almost done, sure.
Doesn't progress report tell you how long the student, took students to complete it?
Actually, you're right.
Project report, sure.
Progress report. Let's see if it does show. I know it shows you how many they've completed and what they've done and how far in they are. Yeah, this one definitely doesn't show that, so don't use that one. Just so slow. There we go. Does it show you how long they've been in it?
So the goal,
It just shows the goal, so it doesn't show you how long.
oh, it says how many hours or minutes are remaining.
Estimated remaining. So that's based off of how much they've done. Now, this is the test. I can go into, let me go into a student that's actually active.
When my students finish, then I read something, I swear it's like a course report or something, and it will print the whole thing, like, how long progress. Was it progress report? How long it should have taken, how long it actually took, and I swear it gives a total time the student.
That's what I think.
You know which one that was? Because that would probably, was that under the individual student or was that under
Individual student.
the individual student? Okay, so there's also session log,
Yeah.
but that just shows you how long they
Yeah.
did each day. So I'm sure the report is there. I just don't do the reports.
So I use that, but then I have to look like every week how long it took them and then add up everything. Take
Progress,
photos.
attendance log, lesson mastery, maybe lesson mastery? No, because that'll pull up all students.
But you want it per course, not per.
Going per student,
Per
right?
student.
So course report. If you go, like, if you click on.
Oh, if you're in the class itself?
Go on to the class.
Okay, see, even I'm learning this. So go into the class. And then you have,
Well, just like click on the hyperlink to it,
oh, okay,
and then up in the top right hand corner, it says course report.
there you go, course report. And we'll download it,
Download it, yeah.
and then, oh, there you go. Total time, right there. That'll tell you how much time it took. That's not good, see, I've never used that before.
And then I usually print off the very last page and put them in students folders.
Okay,
So it shows like their cumulative exam score, their total grade and everything, and then that's the record I keep.
says, when they get done, I just print off their progress report.
that works.
Or take a screenshot of the progress report that shows that what they got, yeah.
That works too. I've never
Okay.
done that either.
Oh, that's good to know that it's there. So right here, course report, you see that? So when you go in, do you want me to show you that again? Yeah, thank you for that, by the way.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
So in your students' courses, you want to choose the course that they're in by clicking the hyperlink. And then it'll take you right into all their units and lessons, and then it's the report right there.
Okay. Can I see the last page, please?
Yeah, okay. Let's just go to that. There, you downloaded it.
So the reason I do the last page is just because that has the, well, I picked the one that has the cumulative test and their score.
Yeah.
And then on the top, it's has their overall actual and relative grade definition. That's just what I choose.
Do you guys understand the difference between overall actual and relative grades?
I do not.
Okay, that's actually, nobody brought that up, so let's go over that real quick while we're on the topic. So if you go to progress report, you'll see those. Okay, so you have the overall grade, you have relative grade, and you have their actual grade. So we use the overall grade. I think we use overall grade. Actual grade, let me log in as a student really quick. Yes. I usually get confused with these, so manage students. Best search. If you ever want to log in as a student to see what they see, go into manage students, find the student, click on them, and then click on account security, impersonate. I personally have asked them multiple times, can you just put this on each individual student's, like, where all the managing of that student is, so we don't have to go through this, and, oh yeah, we'll think about that. That was 8 years ago. So this will actually log you in as a student. Yes, if you do log in as a student, this will count towards your hours. Okay, so we'll record hours of being active. So, don't do it in a specific student unless you're with that student and showing them something, which is what I've done. I say, hey, let me log in as you, if that's okay, because I'm with you, and then that's me giving them instruction anyway, so they're getting that course as it is. So, this is what they see. They'll click on one square per class. This gives them the course map. So the difference between moving freely and not is these will all be grayed out. And with moving freely, they can click wherever they want. So they can say, I don't want to learn about introduction to government. I want to learn about the enlightenment. They can click right on that. Don't take them right through the lesson. So that's how they move through freely. If you don't want them to move through freely, it's just grayed out until they finish the previous assignment that they opened it up. The other thing with dates too that I talked about, if you have them have a certain date to finish, this will actually create a course match for them. So it says, hey, like to finish this class on time, you need to do this lesson by this date, and the date will be up here to the left. So it does provide a progress report or a lesson like plan for them. But when it comes to the grades, if they click on the graph here, they can see their own progress. Okay, we use overall grade. All right, so here's what it is. Actual grade is based on their progress and what they've completed. So if you have dates that they have to finish by and they're behind, then their actual grade calculates anything they haven't finished by that time that they should have finished as a 0. So it's lower than what their overall grade is. The overall grade is what they completed. It's their grade of anything they've completed. So it doesn't give them any 0. Is it because I'm like touching the desk? I think I'm connected to the HDMI, and I think every time I like push down the desk a little bit, it's just the connection. So relative grade, even working for them for 8 years, I've never understood it. I don't know why they have it. I don't even know what it calculates.
0 for all future assignments.
Or is it the other way, like only out of what they've completed?
That's what overall grade is. It's what they've completed, yeah.
So then
And we always tell students to check their overall grade because that's showing like anything they turned in, what's actually being measured. So relative, I've never used. A lot of schools, I've never seen anyone say record their relative grade. So when I would close a student out, nobody ever said choose a relative grade. The actual grade or the overall grade were the two that they chose to. We choose the overall grade because again, we don't make them go through the lessons. And so if they don't go through the lessons, it gives them a 0 on that lesson. Even the videos count as a grade when it comes to the actual grade. Let's Google it real quick.
I just did.
Oh,
Relative
yeah.
grade is if they stopped working at that moment and got 0s on the rest. So if they had like completed 80% at 100%, they would only get a B if they stopped right there, right?
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, some schools only required students to finish 80%, so some kids.
So they
would finish
could stop.
80% and be like, okay, I'm
I'm
done.
done.
And they
Yeah.
think they had an A, but they didn't have an A. So,
Yeah.
So question, so the actual grade, you only get 0s if you put a start and an end date,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
So if you just left that blank, then theoretically overall and actual would be the same.
for some reason, it doesn't calculate it the same though. I don't know why.
Okay,
So we always just use overall.
Okay.
That's just our preference. Because this is everything they've done. Because once they've done 100% of the class, if this is over 60%, then we're like, hey, you got it.
yeah, okay.
Sure.
I
Yep.
figured that was actual grade, so that's good to know what I need
Yeah.
to be looking at overall.
The nice thing about this too, they can also see how many tests, exams. I guess there's no quizzes in AP US government. So tests and exams and essays and assignments they have left, how many they completed. Yeah.
It's back to competency-based grading, which I get grades. I prefer relative. So everyone starts at 0.
Yep.
And you need to work your way up to a passing score instead of just grading on what you submitted. On establishing competency based on certain content, and you start at 0.
Yeah, you can do that.
I mean, that's what relative gives you.
It does. So we require them to finish everything. We won't close out a class until everything's done. That's how we do it. But if you want to, and there's a lot of schools across the country that say you only have to finish a certain amount and we'll consider you complete. Relative would be huge for that. That'd be a good way to do it. But if you tell a student, hey, you only have to finish this much, relative grade would be the one you want to use. We just tell everyone you have to finish everything that we assign you, other than the videos. If you already know it and you can go through it and show competency, you're fine. But when it comes to these categories down here, anything we assign, they have to do it.
Then at the end of the course, overall and relative will meet them, because there's nothing left undone.
For some reason, they don't.
Overall and relative?
Yeah. I don't know why. So I don't know how they calculate it. And same thing with actual. It should be the same, but it doesn't, for some reason. Well, because again, if they're skipping, I don't know if relative actually takes in the videos and the other activities or not. Actual does. So if they're skipping the videos, that's why actual and overall don't calculate the same, because this puts the videos as a graded assignment. Don't ask me why. So, yeah. But in theory, you're right, it should be the same. But yeah, but I've seen them as different before. I've actually seen this stay at 0, even when they're done, so I don't know what their deal is. All right, this one's the e-notes. They can actually find their e-notes right here if they need to. If they go into a lesson, let me show you how students can do e-notes if you ever teach them how to do this. So when they're in a lesson here, they click on the plus button. This is where I got the transcript from too. So you can click on transcript, and then I just copied that and put it into AI and made a quiz. That's how I did it. And I did select all, even though it says teacher, teacher, teacher and times. AI did not even do anything with that. It just literally took the content. It's amazing what AI can do. We've been teaching our kids we started teaching them AI how to use it. They've been having a blast with it. This is the chat with tutor. So if you have the chat option, then click on this and it provides them with that live tutor help. So,
Yeah, which AI program are you using?
we're multiple ones. Our teachers have been finding new ones. So ChatGPT is the most popular one, but they've been using InVideo. They taught kids how to make videos without having to actually do anything. Our school district has the Adobe Premiere, the Adobe licenses, so they've been using Firefly, which is pretty cool. You can make pictures. I actually did my board presentation for my district using Adobe Firefly. I just made like comic book cartoon pictures and it was cool. It was fun. They enjoyed it. It worked. I put in their bald tattooed principal and it made the coolest picture. So it works. I actually still have that picture. Oh, we can do that later. So if a student takes notes, they just put their notes here. They can type whatever they want. And they hit save. And then when they take a test, they'll see their notes. But that's where they can take their notes. The transcript, if the student has to read it as they hear it, that's what that helps them out. For some reason, it's not pulling up other languages when I log in as a student, so I can log in as a student and we'll go over the language barrier thing, which it's been driving me nuts. Okay, we kind of digressed on that, but all right.
While we're on the topic of notes, can you show how you can print out guided notes? Can we as educators print those out and give them to students who want to test out maybe and say, okay, here's a study guide for you, fill them in, use them for a guide, use them, and then come and test, but leave your notes on or like I don't know, man.
Some of them have them, some of them
Okay.
don't. Yeah, I'm going to first one, quarter one. They,
So, and then are the guided notes, are they per unit or per course?
I think it gives you the whole course in one, but it breaks it down unit by unit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
because it basically gives them, it's like an outline basically that says, here's the subject, and then you can take notes underneath the subjects and the main ideas.
Okay.
No, hold on, let me, that's what Google's for. Left navigation tab, quick resource, say resource, unless it's this, no. Maybe this one just doesn't have it.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll find that.
Okay.
I'll find that. Because not all of them have guided notes. I think only maybe a third of them do.
Okay,
And so
that's fine.
I will find that though. Oh, that's EdgeX. Hold on. EdgeX is the new one. It's like the updated service, but none of their classes are in Utah. They still have algebra, geometry, and they don't have any of the math 1, math 2, math 3. There you go. Your guided notes, whatever guided notes are made up of separate version. The difference between the two versions of the teacher contains answer keys. Guided notes are available as PDFs, which can be downloaded and printed from each corresponding lesson. Oh, so it is from each lesson. Guided notes are associated with specific lessons. It would be a lot, but let's see if we can find it, because this one had the options for guided notes. So maybe it's in there in the video. I'm not seeing it in here, but again, it's not letting me see it's the languages. So
I thought the guided notes were like downloaded
they are a downloadable thing.
documents that like.
I'm not actually logging as a student. I can actually log in as the student.
Okay, we can move on.
Well, I mean, to be honest, we're pretty close to being done. And this is supposed to be till 12:30. So we can find it. Okay, I'll go to exam only courses because you've been asking about those. Let me show you how to do that and we can try to find those guiding notes. So I just ended my impersonation session. There's a red button that says end impersonation session. So go into manage courses again under courses. So if a student comes in and says, hey, I want to test out of animal systems. I don't know how many kids will want to, but you can. You just click on more and then create exam only course right there. And that actually creates your exam only course. So then when I do that, I don't have an animal systems exam only for the whole class. Hit create, okay, and then make sure you refresh your course list. In Edgenuity, if you want to see changes, you have to refresh a lot. Like when you take kids out, you have to refresh them before they got taken out. And animal systems, exam only. So that's how it does that.
Okay, but then
So you would assign this.
is that exam, that's like a whole, that's either a whole year or semester if you only want it, like if you don't want a whole year, would you have to modify it?
So you could, so this is a semester class, that'd be the full semester, but if they say, hey, I want to test out in Q1, then you would just say, okay, here's Q1, exam only, and then it makes an exam only course just based on the Q1. So all this stuff I took out to make it a quarter class, it would only test them on that. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay.
Like, I'm sorry, can you just like from the beginning, tell me like how you would make an exam for just a quarter?
For just a quarter?
Uh-huh.
So first you have to make,
You have to make the class first.
yeah.
So you customize the class? Or?
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to customize the class first if you want just a quarter.
So
So
once you customize, then what would then?
So then I would do animal systems Q1 here,
Uh-huh,
more, create exam only course.
gotcha.
And it would make it, so the way it works is it's just copying the material from an already made course. And you're saying make a final exam just for this one
Okay.
course, so.
I believe I heard you say that no matter if it's a quarter, a semester, or a year, it's 50 questions.
Always 50 questions. Can't modify that.
Like 50 though, like, I think a year should be more.
Yeah,
But I like 50 for a quarter.
yeah, 50 is fine. Well, I mean, that's as many quizzes as there are.
But I think,
Quizzes are
I just feel like it gives you a way better idea if they really know it.
Yeah, I just want more for the semester. I'd like 75 for the semester
Right.
and 100 for a year. But they don't have that, so.
So I have a quick question.
Yes.
Then what is the difference between an exam only on a quarter versus the cumulative exam? Like, wouldn't they in theory be the same thing?
It would be. If you had a quarter credit,
If you have a quarter credit with a
Goodness.
cumulative exam, you wouldn't necessarily have to make an exam only because the cumulatives aren't they 50 also?
Oh, I wish
So we-
somebody wanted to test out of the quarter.
But
Are you
So-
saying that you could do it anyway? You could
just
just let them take the exam?
just let them take the exam.
So then you would just
you
have to give
could
them
do that.
permissions?
you could do that. It would just be under moving freely.
Yeah.
I mean, if they took the exam, so we make the exam only course. Here it is. There we go. We make the exam only course just to organize it better. So that they say, hey, I tested out. Because here's what some students will do. They'll say, hey, I want to test out of this class after they got halfway through. Our policy is once you've gotten about 10% of the way through, you can't test out. So we say the exam only is for us to report how many times they tried to test out or how many courses they tried to test out of. So that's just for us, data wise. You could say, oh yeah, you can test it out. You feel like you know it and you've gone this far through, just go ahead and take the final exam and then say, okay, I'll take your final exam. So, like when I was at BYU, they used to say, you can take the final exam anytime you want, no matter how far you've gone through, and you can just take that grade from the final exam that will negate everything you've done before. Or you can just do the whole class and do it as is. So you could do it that way. That's just how we've been doing it. So that's why we do the exam only for that purpose. And we try to keep kids from going through and then, saying, oh, I'm gonna take the final exam now halfway through and then hoping they pass. Because we really want them to get through all of it, to actually learn the information, instead of them saying, hey, I know 50% of this, I'm gonna guess on the other like 5 questions so I can hopefully pass this test. To be honest, not one kid has.
I've not.
I would say PE, health, and some of the other elective classes, we have like a 90% passing rate because they're so easy. But that's my major, PE and health. They're pretty simple. Math, we haven't had one kid test out. Language arts, we've had maybe a 10% success rate, and it's all of our adult ed students who've done it because they've read the books that are actually in the tests. And then science, we've only had one girl tested out of every science class as a freshman. But she was homeschooled. Her mom went through everything with her, so she knew it all. The other than that, testing out is not, they don't pass very often.
So is that, for language arts, does the final exam require any kind of writing or not?
No,
Oh, no. It's
no, but you could add one. You could add an activity saying, hey, this is also part of your grade. And saying, here's the writing prompt, just like what we showed on add activity, so you can add one on there. It's just mainly the assignments throughout are the way that Edgenuity says this is how they demonstrated writing. So
So, okay, so in the course, there are writing activities or writing assignments? Okay.
Yeah.
There's essays and small, so you'll see in a lot of the classes, you have online projects, journal activities. The journal activity and online project are almost identical. The online project just wants them to do a little research. The journal activity is their opinion. We take away an online projects every time, especially because of the whitelisting thing. Plus, it takes forever for the same thing as a journal activity. We'd rather see what their opinion is based on what they've learned than what they researched, someone told them to be true, especially in a lot of things. I mean, there's not always one right answer in a lot of classes, except for math. Okay, math is, there's one right answer, but when you're talking about a lot of other classes where it's like, give us your opinion on this, you can't tell someone their opinion is wrong, and it's just way off, right? I mean, if someone just writes something way off, then definitely. So, yeah, it's, your opinion, I guess, if you want to do it or not. You can have Edgenuity automatically do it based on keyword, or you can have a teacher do it. Teachers can always go back and regrade things too. I've had students answer things correctly, and they're like, hey, I answered this correctly. They just use certain keywords that Edgenuity was looking for, so a teacher went through, regraded it, and said, yes, you were correct. These are the keywords that I wanted you to use. Let me show you guys what it looks like when the student answers one, and then they use AI or they plagiarize. So the plagiarism detector is actually pretty good with Edgenuity. I think it links to Grammarly. I like Grammarly's plagiarism detector because basically says, hey, they did this, they took it from this and just reworded it. And it works really well. So this student, I went and used AI on this guy. Foundations of Personal Wellness, Health and Wellness, score 100%, automatically graded, AI detected. So there's just a little button right here that you can say scan, and it will scan it for you. If it takes more than like 2 minutes, just hit refresh on the page, and then it will usually be done. It'll tell you how much of it's plagiarized, what the AI detection is, and if you click on this, it'll actually pull up a report for you to download, and it will tell you where they got it from. So plagiarism says no results, but it will actually give you a website that it matches, and you can go to that website and determine if you feel like it was plagiarized or not. And then it will tell you about AI detection. And the AI detection is getting pretty good. So, especially when you hear how kids talk and then they write so professionally.
Right.
You did not write this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, typically, unless the kids did write this essay using ninth grade
Yeah.
vocabulary or something. Or
Even then, there are certain characteristics about AI that can be detected.
Yeah.
That's what's really nice about it. Because I use AI for emails or for things, and I've just said, hey, clean this up, and it just cleans up my grammar and punctuation. It just makes it so much faster. You don't have to sit there and make a mistake. So there are little things about AI that can be caught. And there's AI tools out there that say, oh, this can't be caught. Yeah, it can. It can still be detected. AI is not perfect. It's cool, but it's not perfect. So this is, someone was asking about academic integrity with that. So that's how you can see on journals and essays if they're using other sources. It's really nice. So, bulk enrollments was another question someone had. So we can bulk edit a course. One thing you have to know is not all courses can be edited because some, like you saw the AP US government, it doesn't allow you to do prescriptive testing and it doesn't allow other things. So if you want to bulk edit courses, so here's what we do. If we say, you know what, we need to change this for all of the classes, I just type in PCS because that's our school, right? Pleasant Creek School. We do break it up between adult ed and the local students because we do have different options. So we make a copy. After we make it for our local students, we make a copy of it and name it adult ed and make the changes for adult ed. But we could say, hey, you know what? Everything, we need to edit this. So you can see here, it's selected every class as PCS up to a certain point. I'm going to choose 200. So now we'll pull up 200 classes and I'm going to select them all. 200 courses are selected. You don't even have to go down and make sure it's done. Click edit course options. Pulls up a window. Okay, so now automatic progression. If you change that, 39 incompatible courses. So you have to remove those courses. Okay, so what that looks like is it takes away those 39 courses so that you can say, oh, look, most of them went away. Now you can say, hey, enable automatic progression. And then you can say, the other one was free movement. How do I allow free movement in more than one class? So then you scroll down, enable free movement. So in every class that was selected, they can move through freely, right? Or you can say, guided notes, enable guided notes. Maybe that's why I couldn't find it. Maybe. I should probably enable the guided notes for our kids, for all of them. Maybe not all of them. Well, some of them we just don't use, so that might be why. Okay, because some of them could have it. And then you can have pre-testing. Now there's deselect the incompatible course. So there's only one. Now you can say, okay, we want all of our classes to do pre-testing or prescriptive testing, and then enable pre-testing, change the threshold. So they have to get at least a 70%. And that'll change all these courses. So you can bulk edit these courses. So once you have to create a course one at a time, but once you create the course, you can edit multiple courses at once, which is really nice. I'm gonna hit cancel. I don't want to do that.
Your one's full.
Because there's kids who didn't finish some courses last year who are just gonna roll over and start them again in August when we start. In a week, next week. Jeez. Someone went too fast. All right, join up, that's not it. Okay. AI mirror detection, we just went over reports. Okay. You guys probably know those other reports that I do, just because I don't use them. But anything under more, we'll give you the reports. Let me show you the new weekly activity thing. It's actually, I was looking at it yesterday. It's pretty nice. I know one of the biggest reports people wanted was hours, right? Like bulk hours, so that you wouldn't have to look up each student one at a time. There is a way to do that. So this is your overall, how many people are working, what's going on, average grade by week, like, so the average grade in most of the classes. Now, this is North MP High School. I don't know why that auto populates. I don't want North MP. Okay, so here's my school. And you can say, hey, here's what I want, student name, course. You can say, here's what I want to see. So I usually do completed quizzes, completed tests, completed exams. And then active time, it'll show you the active time. I'm gonna take that off just because. There you go. And you can see, all right, so Madison Bailey, I don't even know who Madison Bailey is. Okay, is 1.8 progress in all of her classes. 5.5% in most of her classes. Oh, she increased her progress by 1.8%. Then this week, she increased her progress by 5.5%, and this week she increased her progress by 7.6%. That's overall, it's not course by course. But you can see the actual progress, the target progress, the completed activities for an entire program. This is new, so this could be changed because they do make changes on their new stuff constantly to make it better based on suggestions. Not their old stuff, apparently, but you can see how much someone has worked. So this girl right here, she graduated the day before summer school ended in July. So she went 21.4% progress increase in all of her classes because she hurried through everything. 4 quizzes, 2 independent tests, she completed 1 exam just in that week alone. So you can see how much progress students are going through. When it comes to hours, here's what I found. If you actually go to attendance log, and then we'll do just adult ed students. And you click on, where did I find it? Export. This is kind of cool. It actually gives you the weekly from what your range is or where it starts at. Open. It'll actually show you the hours at the end for each student for that whole week. Which I didn't know. I used to just go into their individual summary and I'd say, oh, okay, there's 2 ways. I can show you both. Okay. Thank you. I'm all set. It says that every time. So it tells you the total number of hours for that entire week for all of your students. So that's one way to bulk export all of your adult ed student hours so that you can see what they are for a week, but it only does 1 week at a time. So when we do the 2-week report, you'll have to do two of them and add them together. The other thing you can do is individual by individual. Since I only had, I think 19 active actually working at one time, it didn't take very long. I would just go through Utopia and go through my enrollment and say, okay, not Bailey. Let's see how many hours she has. And I go to session log. And this gives you, who's someone who's worked? I think she's doing summer school still. Nope. Well, you can change the dates. So let's go back to, you can choose your dates. So you can say May 6th. That's my start date. And May 20th. 1, 2. So there's my 2 weeks. Close window. Submit. And this will tell you the top dark blue, well, middle blue, I should say, this is dark blue, is their total weekly hours for that week. And then you can manually add that up. Unfortunately, it just doesn't give you a time slot to report hours in the 2 week based on what you want. So you can do it individual by individual, or you can export the hours. Oh, you could manipulate your own Excel file or Google Sheet if you wanted to, but the export where you could actually just have a calculator automatically for you. But, that's how to get hours for those. They don't usually have people recording hours because I think they said 90% of Edgenuity students are high school or middle school, not adult ed. And so a lot of people don't report hours on how many hours kids have done. All right. Were there any other reports you guys wanted to know about? A lot of them just are not available, unfortunately. Edgenuity just does not cater it to what we do with adult ed. So it's really just not there for you.
Can you go over the progress reports? Because when I look at them, I just see a bunch of colors and red and green, and I don't understand.
Okay. All right. So complete, right? This is how much they've completed. This is the whole class right here. And then oh, this is where she should be. I don't know why she has a date on there. And then this is where she's at. So the green is, the top line is where they're actually at. No. Let me rephrase that. Okay. Here's their grade based on what they've done for, so 90 to 100% on. Geez, it's changed. I might not be able to tell you that. It used to just be progress and where they should be at. Oh, because we don't have a date. Do you guys do dates? Do you have a start and an end date?
Let me try, yeah.
Okay, let me change one class just of hers. To start and end date, because that might actually make more sense. So let's do environmental science.
So I just do 2 weeks.
2 weeks per quarter? That's fast. I could die.
But I only give them one class at a time.
So we'll do 8, 1, 4. And we'll do, you said 2 weeks? Oh, you only give one, that makes sense. We give them the whole.
Yeah,
So we'll say 14, by 24. Remind me to change this back. She might not be happy about this. Okay, submit. All right, submit. There we go. Environmental science, oh, progress report. No, I need to go to, so it's environmental science. Okay, so here we go. Now that makes more sense. All right, so she's behind. Right? So her actual grade, her overall grade is 82%, but she's only 29% complete. By this time, she should be a little more. So the red means that she is behind. Okay. The middle one means that the green one down here is her grades. This is where she's at with her overall grade. And then I don't know what the middle one means, to be honest. I couldn't tell you. Probably where they should be. It's a good thought. This is where she should be, this is where she is, but this is her grade.
so with the date on there, then she should be where that orange.
She should be where the orange line is, yeah. She should be almost 63% done, or 69% done.
Okay.
And so, and the reason why, you can see she's done 34 of the 35 quizzes. The reason why it's saying that is because she wasn't watching all of the videos. She was only watching a select video.
And so that's where the actual grade comes in. She got zeros on this, but, right?
Yeah, that's where the actual grade comes in, because anything, well, no, she hasn't gotten she's getting zeros on the videos. That's where the actual grade actually comes in, and the grade links the videos. And then this is just her overall grade, this bottom one. And it matches the 80 to 85, she's at 82%.
And that's what you print off or screenshot the record.
Yeah, when they're done. Yeah, when they're done, because we mainly take this right here. So this shows their overall grade. So we'll do the whole square, but then it shows the overall grade, which is what we record, and then it shows that they did complete all the quizzes, tests, the exam, and the assignments. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I know parents email me all the time. What does this report mean? Because they get weekly reports for their kids, and I'm just like, it's totally different what they get. It's so much more confusing. And I just said, don't worry about it. If you don't hear from us, they're doing great. Um,
So can I ask you a question or
yeah,
a
absolutely,
few questions?
absolutely.
Okay, so question one is just in your experience, how many courses do you assign a student at a time so that they're not overwhelmed? Or does it depend on the student?
That's kind of thing we give them everything.
Oh, okay.
So, so the YAC kid, at our school, it's a little different. YAC kids actually get in-person instruction. Local kids are online because they're so far behind, there's no way they're graduating in the traditional sense. YAC kids, we only give them what we don't offer. So they only get a few. And then we actually just got approved to give them our old computers, so they're taking this home so we can work on them. And they're being proctored by their staff, so that's gonna be really good. So but they do everything in school right now. So it's like, let's say a student has already had biology and our biology teacher was teaching biology that day, they would work on Edgenuity for a class they needed that we don't offer. So we'd only give them a couple. The local kids, they're in such dire need that we give them everything they need to graduate and we say, hey, then that's how we break it down and say, this is how many you need to do a day. So it's not overwhelming because they see everything. It's broken down for them to say, here's your daily, which is what I can share with you.
And then so I have a different question, and that is, so I just didn't know if this depends on what your school district says, like, so when you transcript credit from Edgenuity, do you write Edgenuity or not?
We do. In Power School, it says other options and we say completed online in Edgenuity.
No, I mean for adults.
Oh, for adults? Yeah, everything in Utopia that we wrote, I don't know, I haven't done UASIS yet because we start in September. So we do put completed in Edgenuity. So when I get a YAC kid who was enrolled in adult ed before they came, we keep them in adult ed. But they get the in-person classes. So we'll say completed in person or completed in Edgenuity. And we say where they completed it from. And then if it's in person, we assign a teacher to them.
Okay.
And say which teacher taught them. If it's in Edgenuity, then I don't put a teacher. I don't know if that's required or not, but it's not.
Do you want, so Stephanie, do you want, if they do something, do you want it to be noted on their transcript that it's Edgenuity, or is that is that like your preference, or is it a district preference? Or
Is that normal? I don't think it's
I
normal.
see
that
some
they're-
transcripts that will say it and some that don't, so I don't know what to.
We do it just so that people can, we do it for, it's not what we've done.
Like, if there's, okay, nobody's telling me to do it.
I got put into my job like a week before school started 5 years ago.
I'm sorry,
I was hired like a week before school started 5 years ago. And so I just kind of did things that were tradition and they always put completed, they used to use Odysseyware, which was a mess. But they said completed in Odysseyware or they always noted how they completed it, so I just continued.
I don't think, Nikki, I don't think that's even an option the way UASIS does it though, right? Because you create the course name, but the course name isn't actually what goes on the transcript, it's the course, like, so you could create your course name, I'm remembering, right? You can create your course name that says Edgenuity on it, but it's tied to a Cactus course code, and what actually goes on the transcript is the Cactus course code.
Okay.
So these do not show up on the official transcript.
Yeah, so you
Okay,
can do whatever you want, but it's not gonna show that way on the transcript.
okay, and is it still an option, like, I mean, even if we just wanted it to be a note?
Yeah, there's
But
the
it
comments.
wouldn't show, but like, we would know.
Yeah, you would know, yes, but it's not gonna show on the transcript.
All right. So you had asked me before about progress reports. This is how we do it. So I went through, I assigned every class that we offer to this test account right here. And what I did is I went into the progress report. And this took about 10 minutes or so. And I just looked at it and said, how many test quizzes and exams are in every class? And I made this master list right here. These blue ones are actually SEL courses, social emotional learning courses. So if a kid is like caught doing drugs, we make them take a drug abuse thing before they're allowed to do classes again. If they're swearing a ton, which we do probably twice a day, then kids have to do that, and all their other classes are locked. That's why there's zeros on those, because there's nothing on them. So, but what I'll do is I'll copy and paste all the classes so I can say, hey, this kid's taking a year of art histories, and that's take that. They're taking baking services and careers, which I don't know why we have that. We don't even give it. And they're taking career explorations. So then I can copy those. And I put them in this template that I have already. And paste it, and it goes in. Let's say a student had 5 credits when they started. It already automatically says they have 2 credits assigned right now. At the very bottom, again, this is very low because we give them quarter credits. Some of them have like 100 quarter credit classes. It says, what is this? Oh, dated. I need to change this to maybe 9. Oh, finish date, that's why. So this is the graduation date, so it'll be 5/23/2025. That's why there's an error. So this says, okay, in order to be done by the end of May, this student needs to do 2 quizzes, or 10 assessments daily. Weekly, so 2 a day. And then what my TA does is every couple of days, she goes through the progress report and she updates it. So up here, you can see when they add or when they get things done. So let's say they finished 10 of these, they finish 1 test, 2 tests, 16 of these or so. It automatically will change their number down here. So, Macintosh, what did I just do? I just changed, how did I do that?
Did you open a new
I just
window?
changed the screen mirroring. Separate, and then I'm gonna go back to normal. That was so weird. I hate Macintosh sometimes. Oh, Google, there's an update. Always update.
No, but that's not what we're seeing at all. Oh, there.
Okay, let me go back. Okay, here we go. So it should change those. Oh, this doesn't have the total right here. It does change it, I promise you. So it'll tell you what they have to do. Oh, that's because, yeah, but it has today's date and that automatically changes every day. Once midnight hits, you don't have to change that for each student. It automatically changes and calculates what they have to do each day. So that does say how many they finished, okay? And then we also have how many credits are needed, so 24, we do the minimum 24. So this will actually, let you calculate, hey, if I give you the whole shebang, this is how much you have to do to finish by a certain date. Or if you're doing it every 2 weeks, hey, this is how much you have to finish by the end of these 2 weeks. And what I do is I just make a copy of this and then we name it for each student and then we put them in one document with a bunch of tabs. We can find out students in each tab. I want to go in this one, please.
So has anybody watched the videos? How are they?
The actual lesson videos, they're terrible. Oh, I hate them. And it's not because of the content at all. It's because they talk so slow.
Yeah.
And it puts me to sleep. And that's the issue with a lot of my students is it puts them to sleep.
And is it all over the place about how long the videos are?
Yeah, some lessons are short, some are longer, the longest I've ever seen is like 42 minutes.
Oh, that's.
But majority are anywhere from like 15 to 25 is the majority. And so it's not too bad. And it breaks it up and says, hey, watch this video. It's like 3 minutes. And then it goes to another one and this is like 5 minutes. And then it goes to another one.
So it's like a continuation or?
Yeah, it's a continuation, but it doesn't have one video that's just one big long video. It does say, okay, here's this lesson, then here's this lesson. And in between videos, there's sometimes activities like, hey, answer these questions
Okay.
about what you just learned. The problem is though, is it is extremely slow. You can't fast forward, you can't skip through, which they said they're gonna change. And some people you can't understand. There's a few people with like heavy accents that my kids like, I just don't get it. I can't understand a word he says. And that's like,
So-
I'm visualizing the exact thing too.
So for you, so the things that you require in your courses are.
Quizzes, tests, exams for every class that we have. Some of them we add essays and journal activities. And then, some of them we do require, like math, we require the assignments.
Okay,
They have to be.
so do you require that they watch the videos or they can skip the videos?
Oh, they can skip the videos. So a lot of the kids, so here's what kids started doing at first, which they, not the adult ed, but our YSC, but I mean, might just do this in adult ed too. They would just try to take the quiz and pass.
Mhm.
And then they would take it 3 times and hope they passed one of those 3 times. we're actually debating to move it to 2 attempts this year just because of that. And because Edgenuity gives them the same questions now. And so we let them go through, but they would just take the quizzes, hope they passed, and if they didn't pass, then they would watch the video. But then what they would do is they would just like put the video on and fall asleep because they just hated it so much. So that's why we're like, hey, if you know it, you know it. We did open up our internet a little bit for the local kids to actually Google information. However, when they take the quizzes, all their windows have to be closed. They can't have those open while they take the quiz and the tests. And so, because every quiz, test, and exam are locked, and so the teacher will say, hey, lock these, and we have Apple clocking, so she can see all of their screens, and if they open anything, she can close it right away. She can take control of the screen on their computer. So that's what we require. I know some people do all of it, the big shebang. One that I don't recommend is projects, because the Edgenuity projects are terrible. If you want someone to do a project, give them your projects that you already have. Have them do that. Because ones written by teachers and not a corporation are much better. So, yeah, that's just.
It's too bad that the videos aren't like snappy and engaging. Because I mean, they're kind of it's kind of an expensive thing.
It is.
So
The good
where's the
thing,
money go?
here's, I can tell you right now, it goes to the pockets of the heads, because I wasn't getting paid that much.
Okay, so they're not paying the teachers to be snappy and English.
So they have different packages. You can do the one where, and this is the most popular package in Utah, is where they give you all the courses and then you handle it, right?
Right.
You're the one who assigns it, you're the one who grades it, you're the one who completes it. They have another package where you can hire a teacher, like that's what I did, who will be the one who grades it. I would communicate with kids at least once a week, every week, texting, emailing, one-on-one videos. And then the teachers do all the work, but it's expensive. It's like $350 per quarter credit per student. And so they were forking out a lot of money. A lot of places, this is why I quit. A lot of places are going away from that and going to what we do here. And so I was getting that 2 hours a week.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm going sideways.
You're good.
But I'm gonna go just a little bit farther sideways. So like, maybe this is like too much work, but I'm just wondering, like, would there be a way to use like the tests and quizzes and exams? But like, what if I had a teacher that made a video that was way better than their video? Or is that just like, too much work? To be aligned,
Okay, so you just can't upload it into it, unfortunately.
Right.
But
but maybe it is too much work.
so it's not, so I just was telling Stephanie about this, we just bought these things called e-glass, which are really cool. Let's see if I have the video, you can actually make your own videos and write on it, and you can pull in like images, and you can pull in videos, and it's actually really easy to use. Let me see if I have the video I sent to the teachers. What was it? I don't know what the title was. I'll send a lot, so we've been around here. Experience, no. So you can make your own content, but then again, why are you paying for Edgenuity?
Right, yeah, that's, I just wanted it to be more engaging, but, that seems like a lot of work.
Yeah. And then, so that's.
I don't try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that would be a lot of work. Because then what you could do is you could just put it in Canvas.
That's sort of like, why are you paying for it?
You know what's cool though, is you can actually use AI to also write quizzes and tests on videos. But if you made a video, you can say, hey, watch this video and make a quiz and test off of it. But again, then you're paying someone to do that. I don't have the video, but.
That's okay.
Yeah, so here's the thing about the videos. Let me show you one. The content is actually really good. It's I have to go in as a student tool, or I have to go into here, many courses, course directors. And then let me log in as a student and show, do you guys have a lot of Spanish speaking students?
Yes.
Okay, so let me show you how the Spanish was. We have one, first one in history that we ever had. Moved here from Colombia. Okay, let's just go to online citizenship, so instruction. So this is the This is the video. And I don't have, there you go.
This student right here, you could obviously see that she's.
So the advantage is you have the teacher saying it, you do have a transcript that you want. And then you have a PowerPoint that actually they write on, they do different bullet points, they show them. So that's the advantage. I haven't seen a lot of other online that do the same thing, it's a teacher talking or, you know, there's a few who do this. So it does show them, they read it, they see it, they can take notes on it, right? The only thing they don't do is do it. There's no hands-on.
Question at the top of this.
And as we know, education is shifting to more hands-on because people learn better than doing things. So then there's the one video, then they can go to the next one.
Realize.
This one's only 3 minutes.
Focuses on both.
Now I can skip through because this is the administration side.
The ones staring directly at the teacher, they're.
Wait, slowly talks.
So what you need to figure out.
Like for me, it's the blue background. It looks like really old for, I don't know why. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like fresh and new.
Some of them were written about 10 years ago. If not more, yeah. Some haven't been updated. There are some new classes. And usually when they update a class, they only update the little segment. They don't update the whole thing with a new teacher. So that's my description. If they could speed it up, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Because if they can get through the same information or skip through, because if they take a pretest and say, oh, I got half of it right, I just need to know this information, they can find the information here where it's actually showing them key points and say, oh, this is the information I need, and they can learn it that way. But no.
So there's no written content other than the transcript of the video. Is that right?
Just what you see here and then the transcript, yeah. There's no other written content. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I thought about opening my own online school.
Do it.
My first master's degree was actually in online education and development. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this. And then I found out it costs about $2.5 million to start one. It's a lot of money. I don't have that on a teacher's wage, unfortunately. So, yeah, and again, different online schools have different strengths that Edgenuity doesn't have. Edgenuity has different strengths that other online schools don't have. There isn't one perfect one, and that's the problem. It's because online school is so restrictive. It's not catered to be taught to different learning types. It's, hey, here's information, and then you can modify it, but you know, the content is the same. And that's the hard part about it. But the thing is, it's convenience, right? We get most of our students because it is online and they can work on it on their time and they can work on it outside of work and it's easier for them to do. When they used to make people go into North Central, I think the average attendance was 2 or 3. And they had maybe 10 enrolled. Now we have more enrolled and we have more working. We had 6 diplomas this year, I want to say, 5 or 6. Kids are actually working. I always call them kids, they're adults, they're adults. Students are actually working more because it's more convenient. Unfortunately, it's not the most high quality education. Yeah, that's what stinks. That's what stinks. Let me log in. I need to go change the password because I don't know what the password is of that test kit anymore. Are any of you administrators for the program you're in? Like you're gonna handle everything, adding students. That'll be you. Do you know how to add a student? Okay, let me show you that real quick. So you click on manage students under the students tab and you just click on add a student. And then you'll put in their name. I do first name, not last name. That's what I do. If it's already taken, then it'll say, hey, here's a number. Password, I always make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they can change it later. It's gonna hack in and do their work for them. Grade, adult learners, what you'll put for all the adult ed. So we have all the grades here. I don't do birthday, I don't do start date, I don't do status. I mean, we just take them out once they're done. Gender, if you want to, any of the information here. I don't do any of their standardized test scores. That's all worthless. I always do enable text to speech. What that does is it allows the student to highlight something or read it to them. And then, enable text translation so that it will change it to another trend like Spanish. They have like 30 languages. And then I don't do require the student to watch the orientation video. It is so long. And so I do a one-on-one. Hey, this is how you use it. Here's the question. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do that. Here's what we expect. I usually spend about 20 minutes per student. Again, I usually have one come in every week, so we can do that. This is new, so you can do untimed assessments. That's new. That is cool. That was not on there last year. So you can take away the time limit on assessment. So if you have people who have anxiety over the time going down, you can just say untimed. And then you can reduce the number of assessment questions per student also, right there. So you don't have to do that on every course. You can actually do that. That's also new. We don't put in the street information either. And then you say what school. So we have North Central High School, North Central Junior, Pleasant Creek Elementary. I don't know why we have an elementary school. And then Pleasant Creek High School is what we have. So we just enroll them in the high school here. We don't have adult ed. I just put them as a group of adult ed. Then you add the student. Once you add them, then you can go right into them and add courses. And once you add the courses, they have access to it. So it's right away. So that's how you add a student right there. There are managed students and then add students. Okay, so to edit a student, manage students, if someone says, I forgot my password, if they can't remember 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think you have to do 6 now, so it might have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You just find the student and click on account security, and you can do change student password right here. And so new password, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they have the ability to change their own password. S.test 276. Why is it 276? All right, so let's do the language thing. This is a pain. I showed the one girl that we have. What was it, 236? I think she's 76. Don't say that. Okay, so now I'm in, so this should be able to translate now, because I'm in there. This one doesn't translate. Let me see if there are languages, I promise.
But only for.
Oh, unless they took it off while they're fixing. It's supposed to be for all of them.
That's what I heard.
Teaching and training careers, let's try this one. I wonder if they took it off while they're fixing it. Because, oh, this isn't even. That's right, that one just reads it. Some of them just read, so this doesn't even have videos for the majority of it, they have to read it, which we don't like those ones as much, which is why we got rid of Odysseyware. The Odysseyware is gone now, it's obsolete. Let's see if they have any. I know Language Arts should have one, so let me log out of here and assign them another class and see. They might have taken it off while they fixed it, because when I was asking them why it wasn't working the way it was supposed to work, they just said, oh, we're trying to fix it, it's been a bug. So what they did is every time the video moves on, it goes back to English. Every time they went to a new quiz question, it went back to English, and they had to ask it to go back to Spanish and then refresh the page. That gateway, Edgenuity's down. Okay, there we go. And just like a side note, usually in December and May, Edgenuity will go down because everyone's trying to log in across the country and finish everything. So there will be times where we always tell people, like, hey, don't wait till the last minute, we promise. It will not be good, okay? Add a common class. They might have taken their language off while they fix it. Hopefully that's the case. Let's do social studies. Let's do. What's a common one? Middle school ones and middle school courses. Well, none of you will work with that, but we have middle school online kids and it just doesn't. Let's add a few just in case. Darts, let's do 9. Question of communication. It's a 9th grade class. We can do that. Okay, let's do these two. See if this works. So language thing. We did have a Polynesian student last year, as a local student who did the language thing and it worked great for her. 276. Okay. Which one? Number dash 9. Let's see if this works. See if there's a. No. So up here usually is the language.
Are the functions of the earliest stories.
So they might have taken an offering.
And this is one of the earliest stories ever told. Now, take a look at this image.
You know what we can do
It's a
really
painting
quick?
done by an artist from.
We can ask Edgenuity on our chat. Anybody ever use that?
No.
They're not that great.
What's your paying the extra?
No, not even paying the extra, like, no, this is available for everyone.
Yeah.
They put the low paid people down on the.
Yeah. Hold on. Vibration. There we go. There's one person ahead of me, not bad.
You can type in live agent there and actually talk to the live person.
Yep, there we go. I'm talking to Guile. Sounds like a Street Fighter shooting. That is a Street Fighter shooting. I'm old. Okay. Okay, do you have any other questions while we figure this one out? Don't know how long it'll take, unless they do require you to pay more for language translation, now, which I wouldn't be surprised, which would be ridiculous. That like defeats the whole purpose.
Question. So I'm wondering how you can take a course from the course management and put it into like, I know original education, right? So I have access to it. Cause like what classes I have access to are different than like all of the Edgenuity classes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I could even show you mine.
Yeah, I'm showing that, because we have access to everything. We also paid extra for the CTE classes.
I don't have access to everything. So I have it's the school first week. I hear that,
So what if you X out of that?
and then if I go that hour, which I only have this. Well, how do I get a course management stuff?
And I calculate
And how do I do that?
and Guile is asking you a question.
Oh. I'm not sure you're able to fetch translation feature. Yes. Let's double check that. But I swear we put that on everyone. Oh, okay, so that's where they changed it to. Let me double check here, guys, because I
Yeah.
do have access to everything.
Yeah, I don't have.
Like you can add it to.
But I'm also the district administrator for the whole district, so that might be the difference. Oh,
You know, what the text translation wasn't on.
That's the, this is signed from the student.
Okay. No wonder, okay, now it'll probably work, all right. Well, I'm sorry, we do it on every other student, I just didn't do it on the test one. Let me go try again. And see. Okay, so I'm just gonna log out. I'll let it in. Wow, that is awkward. Okay. Probably because I was like, I don't need to translate. This is a test account. All right. So make sure test translation is selected. Gosh. All right, let's go to language arts 9 again. Let's go to a video. There we go. Okay, so here's how this works. It's only the transcript that changes.
This lesson, you are going to.
So they have to read it with the video. They don't translate the video in Spanish, which is terrible. And again, creating your own videos, if you wanted to, there is an AI
I
app
just won't
called.
go get a loan for $2
See
million.
see if it, $2 million, probably more with inflation now.
Oh, yeah.
This was like 8 years ago. So, see if adult ed will pay for this maybe, but there is an AI app called InVideo.
Got lots of money in her pocket.
I know.
I don't know if you've been talking to me, that is pretty show.
So there is an AI app called InVideo where you can record a video and it'll actually do like translations to thousands of languages for you. And it actually moves your mouth in that translation. It's the funniest thing. But to do that, it costs. It's a yearly subscription. I think it's only like 35 or 40 bucks a year though. But they limit in video. It might be InVideo.ai or, but they limit how many you can do. So the more you pay, the more videos you can do. You can always read the transcripts and like screen record again, Edgenuity, copyright infringement. Be careful. I'm not saying this. Ken, stop the recording. I'm just kidding. But here's one issue is once you go to the next, let's take a quiz. Okay, let me show you the quiz. So there's the transcript for the language. When the next video comes up, they have to choose Spanish again. But there's, they said over 31 languages, I think is what they said. So I don't even know what these say. So, but there's Dutch, I don't know what that is. And Arabic, Portuguese, Italian, French, English. So, probably, yeah, I don't know. I started fishing in Canada, we still spoken French. Yeah. So we were ready. So when you take a quiz, here's where it messes up. Is when you translate it. There, right? Okay, let's choose one. They can see it. Is this next? It goes back to English.
You do it every single.
And you have to do it again. Oh, this is better. It used to be you had to change it to Spanish and then you had to refresh it and then you had to change it to Spanish again. So this is better. So they have fixed something. So that's how you do the language. So it's a lot better than it was, even just like 2 months ago. So yeah, you just have to change it each time. So excelente. All right. And then you got to change it again. So it's each time. That's not as bad as it was before. It was a whole trick beforehand. It was a mess before. So that's how you change languages. So they can. This is much better than it was. I know someone asked about that before. So it'll change it into anything. There's French. Oh, nice. Before you had to change it to English and then another language too. If you were already in the language other than English. So they have fixed it better. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Let's see how many of these we can get right without English. Just gonna guess.
So is it always 10 questions for the quiz?
Quizzes are always 10, tests are always 25, and exams are always 50. Unless you make
So, and then, so
accommodation.
is a quiz for a lesson and a test is for a,
Yes, the way that I was saying it wrong, that he corrected me on.
well, I'm just trying to get it.
Quizzes are lessons, and then a group of lessons will be the unit, and the unit test, the test will be a unit, so it's 25.
And so the exam would be like for the whole,
Here you go, Deb.
okay.
Yep, everything. I'm just choosing B and C for everything. I want to see, here's what I want to see, is if it gives them when they view their questions, if it is in Spanish or if it's in English. Because we let them see. Oh, it doesn't like French. Oh, there we go. Okay, submit. Yes, I have. 20%, all right. So they can look at it, can we change this to Spanish? Yes, we can. That was not an option before. All right, so if you allow them to view their answers, then they can see it in there. That was pretty simple. Okay, did you have any other questions?
I figured it out.
Okay, perfect. Did they get, you got it all?
Yeah, I got it. I figured it out. There's an at schools. So if you go into course management schools, and then go to more, but highlight the program, the class,
There you go.
click on it, and then go to more. Program, and like the fourth one, it says at schools, and then I'm under there.
Okay,
Just to
so I
sign
get you everything.
Yeah.
Perfect. And you can make groups so that you can separate
Okay.
groups too. And that's pretty simple. I can show you that really quick. So you just go to manage user groups under students. And then, so we have adult ed, YSC, so we're all next students, like I said. So you can just add a new group, and then when you go to manage students, you can select who you want. So like we have adult learner, adult learner, adult learner, adult learner here. And then you can just say, so this student's a YSC student. Technically, you shouldn't be seeing the name, but it is
So
what it
you-
is.
So you put all the students in the group you want, is that what?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I can do add to group YSC, and then you click this plus button, and it adds them to the group that you want them to. Now, it won't show it until you refresh it. You always have to refresh this page,
Okay.
even when you take a student off. And then when they have a group, it'll show this little blue icon next to their name.
So what can you do in a group, like,
The reason why we do it is because I have one person who handles our local students, I have one person who handles our YSC students, I have one person who handles, and then I handle the adult ed.
okay,
And so then that way, if I just say, hey, you know what, I just want, so you do a filter here and you can say, what group do I want to see? I just want to see the adult ed group. Then I can hit apply and it will only show everyone who's in my adult ed group right now.
okay. So when I had, like, I went to a little online training with Edgenuity, and one of my teachers, because he's on the other side of our county, he wanted to just see his students, and they had me make a class.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
add classes.
Which is weird because you think class and you think content, but these are courses versus,
Yeah, and see, these, I don't even know who these people are, because I don't know that many people at the high school. But you can create a class, and then, if your teacher's in there, teachers by school, give your class a name, I don't know. I've never done this, to be honest.
yeah, so, but in a group, the person over that group would still have the same access.
I would do a
as if they
group
were- it
over a
seems
class.
easier.
I would do a group and you could name it after the teacher,
Yeah,
and you could assign them to that group, and then if they're over a certain group. Well, the only, and you can add them to multiple groups too, so you can make a group of teachers, like one group per teacher. And then you could say this student needs to be in these different groups, and then they'll be able to see those. Yeah, my teachers only jump into grade. They just go into their content and see if there's anything in their content they need to grade, and then they grade whatever they need to do. So when there's essays and things that they have to grade, they just go in. I swear my teachers got lazy at the end of the year and gave everybody 100%, so on everything, they're just like, yeah, whatever. There's none. Okay, was there anything else you guys had questions about? A majority of it is it's creating classes that you want for your students, adding students, and then just having being able to edit things for those students. And that's what a lot of people were asking me about on that sheet. Is there anything else you had issues with? I might not have the answer, but I have the
You
answer.
said you have the control to remove a student when they're finished.
Yeah, so
or
when
if they
you-
don't return.
Yeah, so let me delete one right now. I don't know why he's still in there. He graduated from adult ed, actually. So you can search for a student. Oh, I had to print this report. That's why he's still active. So you just do, archive right here.
Okay.
And archive, and then it asks you, so we'll archive a student, like say a YSC kid leaves. or an adult ed student says, hey, I don't want to do adult ed anymore, we archive them. But what we do is we leave the enrollments active. And we choose that top one because we've had multiple adult ed students come back and say, hey, I want to start again. Well, then they don't have to start over. They can just continue where they left off. And as we all know, why I see students come back a couple weeks later. Not all the time, but it's common. So and mainly with this drug abuse home. And so then you hit archive, and then what that'll do is it'll take it out. And you just have to refresh, and then it will take them out. If someone needs to come back, you click on the archive tab here, search for their name, same thing. So let me just choose Alexis again. This is one, he was the closest non-graduate we ever had from school. He had everything done except for the final exams. And he just stopped coming. And then he came back to adult ed and took them, and he graduated. And so the same thing, except for it says enable instead of archive, and you can enable them back. And you can do a lot of things by editing students. You can say, hey, change the grade level, promote to next grade. I don't know why Edgenuity doesn't automatically promote them. They should, but they don't. You can remove from a group. You can view family members in. If you require the fitness log, we don't for the PE because we actually have a PE teacher there, so the kids do PE for that.
Oh, okay.
So we count that as the log. We count that as a credit, and then whatever they do, we kind of combine them. And then the account security, you can change the passwords. You can give them a temporary password, or you can impersonate them.
So if they call and say, I forgot the password, I can't get in, the only option is to change it.
Yeah,
Just
change it.
just set it, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, you can change it to whatever they want, or you can just say, give them a temporary one, and then they can set a password when they log in.
Okay.
And again, the temporary is usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, but yeah, that's how you edit, the students in that way.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. A lot of it's getting through it and just doing it.
Yeah.
Having fun with it. But if you guys have any questions, my email, it's right here. It's just that was bigger. Stephen, STEPHEN, .Solon @nsmp.org. If you have another question, you're like, hey, how do you do this? Feel free to email me. If I don't know it, I'll ask the chat guy so that you don't have to feel awkward. I'll feel awkward. And then I can help get the information for it. It's not too hard to get the information. The thing about Edgenuity, the reason why I don't go to their trainings is because they give you everything and 90% of it I don't even use.
Right.
And so it was a lot when I went to their training. It was a ton. And they were like, hey, for this report, for this, for that, for that. And I'm like, I didn't know what you're reporting on right here. So yes, Stephen.Solon @nsmp.org. Feel free to email me if you have another question. Or like I said, I'm gonna make new videos showing the same things we talked about. I'll send those to Karen. Then she can share the file with you so you have access to it. It'll go pretty fast because I just use Loom, and Loom like requires you to pay if you want to 1 to 5 minutes, and I don't want to pay for it. I still like it. Okay. Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope it answered questions. I know there's some where I wish it would have answered more, but it just didn't. Oh, let's see if we can actually have guided notes if anyone cares. Let's see how I can do that.
So down below at the bottom, it says accessing the guided notes at the top at the bottom of the screen.
Good question.
Yeah, that's how I see.
I didn't know. That says a teacher.
Oh.
Let's see if it shows. Student. That's for students. Because that's the student version as a teacher. Maybe you have to. No, they used to allow. Let me see what classes have the guided notes here. Which courses? Let me check out a course structure. Well, the lifetime fitness class. View course structure. Nope, didn't. Never mind, I lied. I don't have, unless I didn't allow guided notes. And it's. Okay, here's what we're gonna do, we're gonna bulk change and allow guided notes for every
Yeah.
PCS class
So.
that it allows me to. 200, yeah, that's too much. Edit options.
Yeah.
Guided notes will remove the 39 that are incompatible.
Just for us.
Enable guided notes to students. Next,
That's,
make changes to active and archived. Next. Cannot be undone. Yes, it can, actually. Okay, so Animal Systems PCS quarter one was one of those that was check mark. So I'm gonna assign this to the students or see which students is enrolled. Oh, maybe there's none. Not in our school anymore, so sweet. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Phoenix, Davis. Oh, no, I need to go to manage. Again, see, this is where I wanted them to add it right here, personate. It's not a pain. No. There are no students. Oh, it's a groups, it's an adult ed, there we go. Phoenix, personate. Let's see if we can find it, because it used to be right at the beginning. But they have made changes, so I quit back in October, and when I started working with them, and they've made a bunch of changes since then. Animal systems.
it's student side. I see.
Yeah, this is what the students see.
Okay.
So, and again, it could be in a lesson, so we can try the lesson. Okay, the language is there. I'll find those and see how the students access those. Unless the teacher do have to print them. Let me go to end impersonation or structures, the way it said to do it. That's a lot of printing.
Yeah, there's one, like. That one row functions. Exponential and then you go down here.
Not showing them. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out the guided notes things for you guys. And see why it's not showing.
Yeah.
But, okay.
I was thinking like.
Yep.
All right, if there's no other questions. Then,
I don't know if it's a good question or a Stephanie question. So for your animal science class, when they complete it and stuff, I put that in as a third year of science, if they needed a third year of science. But in UASIS, there isn't an animal system option, right? So what did we put that in as? Just like an integrated science or applied science? I don't know. You know what so for me, there's a lot of elective classes I'm seeing in Edgenuity that.
Yeah, that don't align with our cactus orange course codes, right?
Right, but they can,
they align, but the names are different.
yeah, so.
Well, if the names are different, you just have to find the right name, but sometimes they don't even align necessarily.
Yeah, so how many animal science is in one lesson?
You wouldn't,
Basis, yeah.
yeah, it's not in UASIS, but I would totally count it as an elective science, as an applied science. But we have,
Applied science, that's what I counselor said.
yeah,
Local case.
The one of an animal science, animal science one.
is there not science in
Oh,
there?
there you go.
Yeah,
There's just been-
animal science one or two.
Okay, there's just been some that my students have done that I don't see in UASIS.
You,
I
we
just
don't have the entire cactus course codes loaded into UASIS, so what I would recommend that you do is just go to the schools.utah.gov. Do a little search on the site for cactus course codes, find the master list, right? And then look for a course that aligns with what you're trying to find, and then we can add it
okay,
but if it's not, you don't add stuff that's not on that cactus course code.
okay.
Sometimes.
You got some, like, a lot of CTE classes, we aren't on there because there's so many expanded ones there.
Yeah, and
If we have a
it's,
fire science teacher, that's not a very common one to teach.
yeah, and adult education is even more narrow than, right, K-12. So we just haven't added all of them because they're not usually used. But we can add them.
Okay,
You just have to let us know.
okay.
Yeah, that's definitely one of it. Okay. Well, awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Email me if you have any questions. And if there's anything else that you were wondering about, or you've come into something where you're like, hey, I'd like to do this, can help you see if there's a possibility. You can always chat to the people on Edgenuity. Sometimes they don't understand what you're saying though, when you chat with them. And they send you a link to something that has nothing to do with what you asked. But yeah. So it's kind of how it works. But yeah, if you have any other questions, let me know. I'm happy to look at it for you if I don't know it. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.